You know, for the last half-century, the United States has been on this secret quest to do the impossible, to make its most advanced aircraft completely, totally invisible. It's a wild story of Cold War paranoia, brilliant engineering, and even a forgotten theory, all of it driven by one huge question.
So this was the problem they had to solve. After taking just staggering losses to Soviet-made surface-to-air missiles over Vietnam, the US military realized that just flying higher faster, well, that was a losing game. They needed a game-changing advantage, a way to slip through enemy defenses like a ghost, completely wiped from their radar screens.
Okay, so to really get how stealth works, you gotta understand this one key concept: radar cross-section, or RCS. Just think of it as the plane's radar signature. A regular fighter jet, it might show up on a radar screen looking like a school bus. The whole goal of stealth is to shrink that signature way down to the size of a bird, or maybe even an insect, making it practically impossible for anyone to get a clean lock.
Now this is where the story gets really incredible. The key to American air dominance, it didn't come from an American lab. Nope, it came from a paper published by the very same adversary they were trying to beat. The US was desperate to crack the code on Soviet air defenses, and wouldn't you know it, the solution was hiding in plain sight, in a document the Soviets themselves thought was, well, academically interesting, but totally useless for the military.
It all kicked off back in 1962. A Soviet physicist named Pyotr Ufimtsev published these equations that proved something amazing. An object's radar return actually depends on the shape of its edges, not its overall size. It took almost 10 years, but the US Air Force finally translated the paper. By 1975, the legendary engineers at Lockheed Skunk Works plugged those equations into a computer program they called Echo 1. And just 2 years later, this bizarre alien-looking test plane called Have Blue took to the skies and proved the whole crazy theory actually worked.
The head of Skunk Works, a guy named Ben Rich, he did not mince words. He called Ufimtsev's work the Rosetta Stone breakthrough for stealth technology. I mean, that says it all, right? It was the single key that unlocked the next 50 years of American air power. It just goes to show you how one little idea that somebody else overlooked can completely change the global balance of power.
And that breakthrough led directly to this machine, the F-117 Nighthawk. Look, this wasn't just another plane. It was a whole new category of weapon. It was the world's first operational stealth aircraft, and was built for one single, terrifying purpose: to be a precision attacker that could sneak past the most sophisticated air defenses on the planet without anyone ever knowing it was there. But the engineers hit a huge wall. The computers back in the 1970s, they were nowhere near powerful enough to figure out the crazy complex math of how radar waves would bounce off smooth, curved surfaces. So they came up with this really clever, if kinda clunky solution. They designed a plane made entirely of flat panels, almost like a cut diamond, angled just right to bounce any incoming radar waves away from the source.
Now, that radical shape made the F-117 a ghost to radar, but oh man, it also made it a total nightmare to fly. The thing was so aerodynamically unstable that its own pilots nicknamed it the Wobblin' Goblin. It was literally incapable of flying without a revolutionary fly-by-wire computer making thousands of corrections every single second. The whole program was so secret, a black project, that its existence was officially denied for years. It was flown by these elite pilots who were known only by their call sign Bandit.
So the big question is, did this weird, unstable flying diamond actually work in a real war? Well, during its big test in the 1991 Gulf War, the world got its answer. The number of F-117s shot down by enemy fire was exactly 0. Not a single one was lost.
The results were just jaw-dropping. Even though they were only a tiny fraction of the total Allied Air Force, the Nighthawks flew right into downtown Baghdad. At the time, the most heavily defended airspace on Earth, and hit 40% of all strategic targets. They basically kicked the door down for everyone else, proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that the age of stealth had officially begun.
So the F-117 proved that stealth wasn't just a theory, it was a weapon. But even as it was dominating the skies over Iraq, engineers, now armed with a complete revolution in computing power, were already cooking up the next giant leap forward. They were finally ready to ditch the sharp, flat panels and move to the impossibly smooth, flowing curves of the B-2 Spirit.
I mean, the jump from one generation to the next is just so striking. The F-117 was a brilliant compromise, right? Its jagged shape was a direct result of the computers they had. But the B-2, The B-2 was designed using supercomputers. That power allowed for this organic, blended, flying wing that was not only way stealthier, but also 1,000 times more aerodynamic and efficient. Just think for a second about what this new design really meant. A single B-2 can take off from its base in Missouri, refuel just one time in the air, and hold any target on the entire planet at risk, all while carrying these massive, city-leveling weapons like the 30,000-pound bunker buster. By getting rid of the tail and the fuselage, you get rid of all those perfect right-angle radar reflectors that almost every other plane has. It's a true strategic ghost.
So for the third generation, the whole philosophy of stealth kind of split in two. Instead of building one plane to do everything, the mission diverged. They created two highly specialized aircraft. One became the ultimate hunter of the skies, and the other became the central data hub for the entire modern battlefield.
On one side, you've got the F-22 Raptor. It's a pure air-to-air killer. Its special trick is Super Cruise, the ability to fly faster than the speed of sound at Mach 1.5 without kicking on its fuel-guzzling afterburners. This is huge because it means it's not creating a giant, easy-to-spot heat plume for enemy sensors to find. It's designed to hunt other fighters before they even know what hit them. And on the other side, you have the F-35 Lightning II, which is like a flying quarterback. Its most powerful weapon is something called sensor fusion. It just vacuums up all the data from all its sensors, fuses it into one simple picture of the battlefield, and then shares that picture with everyone else, making the whole team smarter. And to make it deployable everywhere, its stealth coating isn't a fragile paint, but a tough fiber mat that's baked right into its skin, which cuts down on maintenance big time.
To really appreciate this evolution, let's just visualize how incredibly invisible these planes have become. A non-stealth fighter, like an F-15, has the radar cross-section of a small car. Okay, the F-117 shrank that all the way down to the size of a large bug. The F-35 takes it down even further to the size of a golf ball. And the F-22 Raptor? On an enemy radar screen, it appears as a single steel marble. That is the unbelievable result of 5 decades of innovation.
But the story doesn't stop there. The next generation of stealth, which we're seeing right now with the new B-21 Raider, is being designed for a completely new era of digital, networked war. It represents another one of those fundamental shifts in thinking. Military officials have been really clear about this. The B-21 is so much more than a bomber. It's an intelligent, networked command center. Its open architecture means it can be updated with new software to beat new threats in just hours, not years. And, maybe most important of all, it's being built from day one to be the invisible brain for a new age of robotic warfare, capable of directing entire swarms of unmanned drones from deep inside enemy territory.
Which really brings us to a final, pretty deep question. This whole journey started 50 years ago with the F-117, a plane that was all about not being seen. Now it's leading to the B-21, a machine whose greatest strength might be its ability to see everything for everybody else, all while staying a complete ghost. It makes you wonder, is the ultimate evolution of stealth just about hiding, or is it about achieving total information dominance?